Bengals fans, listen up, because things just got real in Cincinnati. Early this morning, a wave of news hit the fanbase, and it's the kind that instantly shakes up the entire weekend. Multiple reports, including one from Diana Rossini, confirmed that Joe Burrow has officially been ruled out for the matchup against the New England Patriots. The Bengals are now shifting their focus toward the short turnaround, hoping Burrow can be ready for the massive Thanksgiving showdown against the Baltimore Ravens. And honestly, this move shouldn't shock anyone who has been following the practice updates. Burrow opened the week strong, full participant on Wednesday and Thursday, sparking hope across the fanbase that he might actually suit up. But Friday told a different story. He was suddenly limited, and the coaching staff started splitting meaningful reps with Joe Flacco, preparing for a likely change under center. And before we go any deeper into this storyline, before listening to the latest news, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and don't forget to hit that bell icon. Alright, let's move on to the new news. Now here's the reality. Even with Burrow pushing to return, the Bengals are not in an ideal position. The playoff path is slim, and this year's defense simply isn't the unit we saw in previous seasons. Last year, Cincinnati could string together late-season wins because the defense stepped up. This year? They've struggled to stop teams in critical moments, and that puts even more weight on Burrow's shoulders. Yes, Burrow elevates the offense, no question. But even he can't single-handedly fix the defensive issues that have held this team back. As competitive as he is, and as much as he wants to be out there, the Bengals have to think long-term and resist rushing him into action if it doesn't truly move the needle for the season. Let's shift to the roster updates, because there's a lot happening behind the scenes. One of the biggest moves involves the tight end room. The Bengals have officially activated Mike Gesicki to the 53-man roster after opening his 21-day return window. That pectoral injury kept him out for a stretch, but Cincinnati clearly believes he's ready to contribute again. With Jamar Chase not available this week, Gesicki's return brings another reliable target to an offense that needs every weapon it can get. Noah Fant has stepped up nicely this season, and adding Gesicki back into the mix gives the Bengals more versatility in the passing attack. On the defensive side, the news is tougher. Taylor-Britt has been placed on injured reserve due to a Lisfranc injury, and Zach Taylor indicated that surgery is likely. That means his season is probably over. It's a difficult blow for a player whose year has already been a roller coaster, healthy scratch 1 week, battling through inconsistency the next, and now landing on IR. This injury also raises big questions about the Bengals' offseason plans. Will they look for another corner in the draft? Will they explore free agency? A decision is coming, and the front office will need to address it sooner rather than later. For now, though, the focus is on navigating the rest of the season without one of their top young defensive backs. The final roster move from Cincinnati came with the Bengals elevating defensive end Isaiah Foskey from the practice squad, and there's a very clear reason why. The defensive line is dealing with some serious injury issues, and the coaching staff needed fresh depth fast. Several Bengals edge rushers are battling injuries right now, which puts Foskey in position to contribute immediately. His call-up wasn't just routine, it was necessary with how thin the Bengals have become at defensive end. Now let's move into the injury situation, because this week's report is packed with names that matter. Some players who appeared on the list earlier in the week are expected to suit up, but a few big names won't be available. Most notably, Trey Hendrickson has been ruled out due to a hip and pelvis injury. Around the league, there's growing talk that his issue might be more serious than initially believed. Some even speculate he may require surgery once the season wraps up. He's already missed 2 games, and without him, the Bengals lose one of the most impactful pass rushers in the league. His absence forces Cincinnati to lean heavily on rotational pieces, backups, and young players to keep pressure on opposing quarterbacks, something that has been inconsistent all season. With so many key defenders hurt and major contributors unavailable, these final weeks of the season are going to test the depth and resilience of this roster more than ever. This will be the 3rd straight game Trey Hendrickson misses, and it's honestly surprising that Cincinnati hasn't placed him on injured reserve. Usually, if a player is expected to miss 4 or more games, that move is automatic. So maybe the team still believes he has a chance to return sooner rather than later. But for now, the Bengals will once again take the field without their top pass rusher. Shamar Stewart remains on IR, and Joseph Ossai, who appeared on the injury report earlier in the week, is trending toward being active. He's banged up but expected to suit up. Meanwhile, Cam Sample has already been ruled out, adding to the growing list of unavailable defensive linemen. As for Sid Johnson, the team listed him as unspecified. But given how thin the rotation is, it would be a surprise if he isn't able to go. Cincinnati needs every healthy body they can get on the defensive front. Let me know your thoughts. When do you expect Trey Hendrickson to return? Some fans believe he'll be back soon, while others think he may not return at all this season. Both opinions are fair with how unclear the situation is. Now on to the backfield. Samaje Perine is officially listed as doubtful. He didn't practice once this entire week, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. That usually tells you everything you need to know. Perine is very likely out again. It's a tough loss because before his injury on that hip drop tackle during a kickoff return, Perine was playing some of his best football of the season. He was averaging more than 6 yards per carry and had really begun forming a strong 1-2 punch with Chase Brown. Their momentum was building, and the timing of the injury couldn't have been worse. As it stands, Perine is doubtful on paper, but realistically, Cincinnati should expect to be without him again this week against New England. Another name worth watching this week is Jalen Rivers. His status is still unclear, listed as unspecified, but the practice pattern gives us some clues. He didn't participate at all on Wednesday, then bounced back with 2 limited sessions on Thursday and Friday. Since stepping into the lineup, Rivers has had the typical rookie swings, good moments, rough moments, but overall, he's held his own at guard. The Bengals believe he can grow into a long-term piece on the interior, and how he finishes this season could influence their off-season approach at the position, whether that means drafting help or looking to free agency. Given his late-week participation, Rivers appears to be trending toward playing against New England, barring any setbacks. The last injury update worth highlighting involves safety Deion Anthony. He's officially listed as doubtful, and we haven't seen him on the field since late August. His 21-day practice window opened the same day as Mike Gesicki's, but unlike Gesicki, Anthony has not yet been activated to the 53-man roster. When he finally returns, the biggest question will be his role. Does he compete for snaps with Geno Stone or Jordan Battle? Or does he return primarily as a special teams contributor while the coaching staff slowly works him back in? Right now, with him still doubtful, Cincinnati will likely have to wait at least another week before getting any clarity.